Good morning, everyone. It's the 1975 Cricket World Cup being played on Brian Lara Cricket on PlayStation. Match 14 of the tournament, a Group 2 match between Australia and England. This is the match which is probably going to decide who wins Group 2. And at the moment, whoever wins Group 2 is more than likely to play either Kenya, the Rebel South African 11, or the United Arab Emirates in the quarterfinals. It will be the fourth quarterfinal of the tournament. Let's take a look at the outcome between these two great rivals. This is what happened. I mean, look at that final outcome. That is a absolutely sensational performance by England. They hadn't played for 11 games and they've absolutely tore into Australia today. They won the toss, selected the bat first on a hard, fast surface up at Manchester. A little bit quicker than the pitch in which Pakistan, which New Zealand chased 274 yesterday on. Just remember, England ended their innings 266 for 6. 7 runs short of Pakistan's 273 for 8 yesterday. 16 for Dennis Inniss. 11 for John Jamieson. Start off of the innings, Dennis Lillee was absolutely sensational, bowling fast. Keith Fletcher out for 38. There's 37 for the captain Mike Denness. 9 for Tony Greig, who continues his out of form with the bat. Alan Knott didn't score. 18 for Chris Old at the end. But look at that innings. Frank Hayes' first appearance on the competition. 129 off 137 deliveries. Wonderful, wonderful batting in what was a very solid batting display by England against the joint second favourites in the tournament. Let's have a look at this again. 38 for 1 for Ian Chappell. 66 for 1 for Jeff Thompson, very expensive. There doesn't seem to be too much consistency. Mallett, who got hit for 70. Ashley Mallett, who got hit for 70 runs against Sri Lanka, hit for 56. 2 for 55 for Max Walker and 2 for 43 for Dennis Lillee, who bowled very steadily. He struggled in his final 5 overs, but his spell at the top of the order shook England up a bit, but England made a good score. And in a rarity, you would have thought that having seen New Zealand chase 274 and the way the tournament has gone so far, during the halfway point you felt this could be close. Australia are going to grab this close. Their batting's been very good. Well, look at that score and look at the fall of wickets. They lost 6 wickets in the first 20 overs. England's bowling was absolutely sensational, and basically the game was over after about 20 overs. A duck for McCloskey, big wicket of Turner, gone for 7. 25 for Ian Chappell. Greg Chappell didn't 50 in 58 not out in his last match. He was out for 15. Ross Edwards supposedly 7 for... Not Ross Edwards. Well, Ross Edwards did get 7. Doug Walters was run out on 7. They attempted to go for a third run, Edwards and Walters was just ball watching, and Edwards called him through straight away, and it was an absolute ridiculous run out. Edwards played an appalling shot to get out for 7 off 20 deliveries. He was a supposed key player in this Australian side. He was poor. And at 80 for 6, the game was over. A nice little partnership low of 81 from Rodney Marsh and Max Walker. Max Walker had a fine match. 51 of 50 deliveries. 8 for Jeff Thompson. 3 for Dennis Lillee. And towards the end, 0 for Ashley Mallett, completing a miserable match for him. There is reports now that he will not play in the final 2 games for Australia when they play Rhodesia and Holland. When they play Rhodesia and Holland, he is thinking Ian Chappell of experimenting with a 4-man pace attack, and Gary Gilmore is going to probably come in for the match against Rhodesia and Holland to see whether a 4-man pace attack will help their bowling, which has been slightly inconsistent. They bowled pretty well against India. They haven't necessarily bowled unbelievably well here against England, and they certainly didn't bowl well against Sri Lanka. 53 not out. Now, if Max Walker's 50 was belligerent and quick, Rodney Marsh 53 off 100 deliveries. I think he was left no option, to be honest with you. Fantastic innings to save what could have been a 100-run defeat for Australia. In the end, they managed to stay face them all out for 192 in the end. Bowling figures were superb. As you can see, 2 cheap wickets for the end for Frank Hayes. He was given the ball by Mike Dennis said, "You've had a good day with a bat. Let's see whether you can chip in with a few wickets." He did. 2 for 18. 31 for 1 for Tony Greig. Bowled steadily. 2 for 38 for Chris Old. Derek Underwood, 0 for 19. He only bowled 3 overs. Not a good day for the spinners. On a hard pitch in Manchester, we felt the spinners would play a huge part. Both Ashley Mullet and Derek Underwood went for 74 runs in just 13 overs between those two. So it was a pitch for the fast bowlers. 1 for 31 for Jeff Arnold, and Peter Lever, 3 for 39, took the vital wicket of Alan Turner at the start at the top of the order. This is what the outcome was. They're all out for 192 in about 44.5 overs. England won the toss, selected the bat. Hit at Manchester. They made 266 for 6 from their 50 overs. Australia all out for 192 in just 44.5 overs. England winning by an emphatic 74 runs. Man of the match for his 129 off 137 balls, and 2 for 18, Frank Hayes for England. It's been weird. We've seen 2 test playing nations. We've seen Australia and India and Australia versus England. And it's ended in emphatic victories for both Australia and England in the 2 matches against the test playing nations. Whereas the test playing nations in Group 1, we've seen West Indies sneak home by 1 wicket, chasing 267 at the Oval. And yesterday we saw New Zealand sneak home by 3 wickets for only 10 balls remaining, chasing 274. So Group 1, no doubt, is the hardest group. Group 2 is a little bit more straightforward, it seems. And if you have a look at the table, it definitely is more straightforward. Incredibly, England are only 3rd in the group at the moment on run rate. But surely that will improve as the tournament progresses. They're in control. They should be favourites to win the group now. They've got India, Holland and Sri Lanka in their next 3 games. They should win the group now. Whoever wins Group 2 is more than likely to play either the Kenyans, the Rebel South African 11, or the United Arab Emirates in the 4th quarter-final. Australia need to hope that England have a little slip-up against the 3-4 mentioned sides. Tomorrow's match, Rebel South African 11 against Kenya. Whoever wins that will be in pole position to finish 4th in the group, potentially, and qualify for the quarter-finals. Rebel South African 11 obviously bottom. Kenya buoyant after their fantastic thrilling win against the United Arab Emirates. We're going to have a look at the star players. Let's just save this game first, as always. Let's have a look at the star players. Obviously, as you know, Jon Snow didn't play today. He was dropped after he went for 53 runs against Rhodesia and didn't take a single wicket. We're going to have a look at the bowlers first. As you can see, Jon Snow didn't play today. He has said, Mike Dennis, Jon Snow will be back for the match against Holland. So he will play in the match against Holland. He's dropped in today. He accepted his decision. He said before the match, he was dropped. We're talking to him during, a couple of the commentators were talking to him during the break. And he said, "Do you know what, I accept it. I didn't bowl well against Rhodesia, but I will come back stronger. Disappointed to miss a match against Australia, but you know, I will be back stronger and I'll be back ready to go against Holland. I'm almost certain he'll play against Holland. He just had a bad day against Rhodesia, dropped, and no back. He'll be back stronger. He's got an average now, Dennis Amiss. Gone for 16 today, 117 runs in 2 innings. He's got an average of 117. As for the Australians, 5 wickets in 3 matches, an average of 23 for Dennis Lillee. He's bowled well again today. He's averaging 3 with a bat now. He's got an average with a bat. Gilmore will play, I'm almost certain, in the final 2 matches against the Dutch and Rhodesia. So he'll be wearing to go. So I think they are going to go with a 4-man pace attack against Rhodesia in their next match. And probably Ashley Mullet will be the full guy, but that remains to be seen. Ross Edwards, first bat of the tournament, out for 7. It was a dreadful, dreadful innings. Was involved in the run out of Doug Edwards, but then he played a dreadful shot to get out. His wicket at 8 for 6 killed the game stone dead, in my opinion. 56 in 3 innings for Ian Chappell, averaging 18. He's not had a good start. His average has gone down now. 242 runs in 3 innings, an average of 121. So Turner's average goes down. The wicket, Peter Lever getting his wicket early on proved the point of the match in which Australia struggled. So that's the match report of Australia versus England at Manchester. An emphatic win for England. England, in my opinion, definitely the red-hot favourites to win the World Cup now. That performance against what Mike Dinesh said, I rate this Australian side immensely. They've had a bad day. Ian Chappell quotes after the match saying we cannot play like that again. England bowled really well in the first 20 overs, but we can't put ourselves in that situation again. And he has said, effectively, to Mullet, who got whacked for 70 against Ashley Mullet, whacked for 70 against Sri Lanka and then went 56 today. He bowled well against India. He took 3 for 48. But in hindsight, I think Gilmore is going to be wearing to go against Rhodesia and Holland, and they'll try and play 4 pace. I reckon they'll play 4 pace bowlers in the final 2 games. See whether they can get 2 wins in the final 2 games. Remember, the team that finishes second in the group will end up playing the team that finishes first in the same group in the semi-finals if they both win. So if England finish first and Australia finish second, then if they both win their quarter-finals, they will play each other in the semi-finals. Whereas if Australia finish third in the group, they'll avoid England, but then they'll probably have to play the West Indies. So it's all about it. I mean, this group is now, we're starting to take shape. 2 weeks into the tournament, and the groups are now starting to take shape. We're now starting to realise who can play who. Whoever finishes top of Group 1, which at the moment, Group 2, is more than likely to play 3 associate members, either Kenya, Rebel South African 11 or United Arab Emirates. Tomorrow's match will decide, in effect, who will finish 4th in the table, potentially. Kenya win tomorrow, they'll be in a great position. If Rebel South African 11 pull off a little bit of surprise tomorrow, especially with their flamboyant batting, then, you know, the group is blown wide open again, and we'll wait and see. But until then, for the match report of match 15, the match from Group 1 tomorrow, the Rebel South African 11 versus Kenya, sort of an African derby. We'll see you all for that match report later. This is me, Lawrence Howard, wishing you a pleasant day and goodbye.